Hello, my name is Georgianne Ford with the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation, and I'm back today with a guest that you've seen before, Debbie Schneider, one of our attorney mediators. And Debbie's going to talk to us today about changing that schedule. It's September comes and the children and the teenagers go back to school, and what kind of concerns come up when that happens? So Debbie, please share with us some of the things that you experience with this and what's helpful.
All right, thank you, Georgianne. I'm happy to speak to this topic because it's something that many of our clients have to deal with regularly. So for the beginning of school, I think everyone feels a lot of hope and anticipation, but I think for those couples who are in the midst of a divorce, when the new school year starts, there's a lot of anxiety. And I think it ramps up both for the parents and for the children, regardless of their ages. So at the Alpha Center, generally the first mediation we do for couples with minor children is that we have a parenting mediation. So we bring in a family child therapist who has experience with families and all these topics. And in a 2-hour mediation, they spend time with that family child therapist and put together the very practical piece, which is the custody schedule itself. So that is where the children are going to spend their overnights, the very practical piece of it. We create what we call a parenting agreement. It's really a custody agreement, right? We do this mediation first because we have found that for most couples, when they are ready to start their divorce, they may not agree about much of anything, but many couples can agree about their children. They want to do what's best for their children. They have that concern paramount in their minds when they start. So we want to take advantage of that positive energy. We want to make the clients aware of the fact that we do not want parenting issues to be contaminated by financial issues. So that's another reason that we want, we encourage that parenting mediation to be first. So as I said, in that parenting mediation, they will spend a lot of time doing the practical schedule. And then there's also a lot of conversation and negotiation about the more philosophical considerations. So those are things such as what are our attitudes about a second household, right? Custody means you've created a second household and you have to share your children. So what will our attitudes be during that period of time? How will we do that? How will we structure that so our family is okay? Every couple is concerned about that.
I'm guessing that changes based on the time of school or no school.
Exactly. So school plays a big part in this schedule. For most of our couples, they do a schedule for the school year, and then they do a schedule for summertime. So we do 2 separate schedules. And some of those philosophical considerations are, how to support each other when there's a disagreement about discipline, when there's a disagreement about structure of households. We want to make sure that both of the parents have ongoing continuous access to their children via phone, via text message. And again, school impacts that schedule very dramatically. So the standard certainly is shared physical custody, but the children's schedule, their school schedule often impacts the custody schedule very dramatically. So once we have the couple kind of sharing their thoughts and we have a meeting of the minds, then we memorialize that in the parenting agreement. And once that agreement is done and the parties have had a chance to think about it and hopefully implement it as during the mediation program, they get a chance to see if that schedule works. One of the things I always emphasize with my couples before they do their parenting mediation is that the decisions you're making are not permanent. All right. Everyone understands that in the initial stages, Custody is very, very much a trial and error approach. Yes, we encourage you to set some structure for the parenting, but also we want to build in flexibility for everybody. So once the schedule is in place and the parties have their parenting mediation, then we also, in the mediation program, address many financial issues. So again, school impacts the finances. Who's going to be responsible? Who's going to pay for the school supplies at the beginning of the school year? Who's going to pay for the uniforms? Who's going to be responsible if there's a private school issue? How will tuition be handled? And this can be a big financial burden. And so again, one of the things I encourage is that for the couple to be very forthcoming, both with each other and with the school where their children are attending. So
Debbie, I see this as being unbelievably valuable to have these conversations.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because I can remember years ago working in the school picture business, how hard it was for a child to get those pictures and not be able to share them with the other parent because all those things could happen.
That's a wonderful example, right? The school provides the packet of pictures, the child takes them home. What happens to the pictures?
It's so simple, but it's big.
Yes, it's a big subject. School pictures are always a big subject, more so I think with the elementary grades. By the time you get to high school, it's of lesser importance. But in the elementary grades, not only do the parents want the pictures, but they want to share them with grandparents. Right? I can remember sending my son's pictures to both sets of grandparents when he was in elementary school. But he was delighted to see them, right?
Right.
So, all of these considerations have an impact. And I think what school does for most families and for those in the divorce situation, all those school issues are just amplified.
Right.
Just made more important, more serious. And the ironic part is that divorcing couples really need to be on the same page at a time in their lives when this is not what they're inclined to do, many of them. They really need to be acting in concert with each other because it makes the whole process so much easier and it makes the process for the children easier, right?
And hearing that from you, I would imagine that lands because it's just, you bring it out, it's big and it needs to be addressed and the difference that'll make when there's agreement.
And it does make a big difference. It really does for those couples to hear about how we're going to address all those issues and how school needs to be factored into every decision that's made. At the beginning of school, again, you hope your children kind of transition into it. Another issue that often comes up is school night. When at the beginning of the school year, like in the first month of school, often they have this night where everybody open house at school.
Oh, right.
Open house. So can both parents go to open house? Can they be supportive of each other, even though they're in a process of divorce? Can they be supportive of their child? So I think the more that these issues are brought out, put on the table and talked about, the better off everyone is going to be going forward. And again, now in the time of COVID, again, I think, as I'm saying, everything's amplified, everything's doubly amplified now, right? We have all the issues about masks and who's been vaccinated. Hopefully the children that are eligible should be vaccinated, and the children that are not eligible yet because of their ages, hopefully all of the teachers and all of the support staff in the school are vaccinated with the hope that those children will be as protected as they can be.
Right. Does that come up also as part of the?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Because we have I've had some clients this past year and a half that have had a differing of opinion about how willing they are for their children to be exposed. One parent wants the children to be absolutely kept in essentially in seclusion. So the quarantine piece really prevents them from seeing their family, seeing family and seeing friends, and really certainly restricting the whole school friends piece. While the other parent might have a much more liberal approach, which might be much more comfortable with letting the child be exposed to some of that. Hopefully not to disease, but certainly being exposed to more of their friends, more of their family. So I've had couples disagree about that. And there have been some instances in which people have had to go to court. Not our clients, but you see cases in the news that has had an impact on some of those issues. And it's really unfortunate. You know, the standard for custody in Pennsylvania is best interest of the child. Again, I hope that, you know, our clients understand. I think they do. I hope they do. I know we really emphasize that, you know, the best thing that you can do for your children is to really make decisions, all decisions, school decisions, every decision, based on what is in their best interests. I think our clients do a really good job.
And I think that you really emphasize that whenever you are on one of these videos. I've noticed that with you, that you really emphasize how important that is. And I'm sure couples that have worked with you walk away clearly with that.
I feel like we really looked at all the issues. Right. I think we try to get everything, as I said, everything on the table. And the more you do that, the better off everybody's going to be.
Well, we definitely need you to keep coming back and informing us and directing us and guiding us, because
I'm happy to do that, Georgianne.
Okay, good. So this was really helpful. And not only that, you brought up the fact that the Alpha Center and the parenting mediation, and that's not something that everybody's familiar with, that's a value added into that program.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's an integral part of what we do, and it benefits everybody going forward, not just right now, but it sets the tone for a successful divorce and a successful movement through the next phase of everybody's lives.
Well, thank you for what you do. And thank you for coming and being our guest today.
You're welcome, Georgianne.
Anyone who is interested in more information from the Alpha Center, from Debbie for divorce mediation, please give us a call, 1-800-310-9085. And we thank you for listening today.